2001. We soon realized once again, there were challenges. There was a clear lack of quality documentation and frameworks in communicating the value of geospatial data in development activities. We saw an opportunity to introduce market research and Geospatial Readiness Index as part of our offerings. Today, the all-encompassing GeoBiz reports and GKI frameworks serve as foundations for measuring and showcasing the value of the complex geospatial ecosystem. From our humble beginning 25 years ago, we have continuously transformed and evolved, but our vision remains the same: advancing knowledge for sustainability. Being in startup mode for 25 years needs resilience and commitment. Kudos to Team Geospatial World for taking up this consistent, transformative challenge. For 25 years, we have carried on with the same zeal of advocacy and impact. We have strived to strike a judicious balance between evangelism and commercial endeavor. For 25 years, Geospatial World has been blessed by the trust and support of hundreds of thousands of professionals worldwide. Your spirit and guidance would continue to lead us in advancing knowledge for success.
I have the pleasure of moderating this closing session. Normally I don't fumble, but you just showed my 25 years, so it's very obvious. So may I invite my partner in crime, Janal Bhatt, to come on the stage. And three of my young friends, colleagues, who are the custodian of this business in coming times: Suyas from Galaxy, Kishanu from Suroha, and Sriramam from IGO, NeoGeo. I was very pleased yesterday that I saw somebody who actually attended our first conference in 1997 in University of Delhi, and he was attending our conference yesterday. Even today, I'm sure if he might be in the room. He reminded me of some old days, and somebody from Ministry of Defense today talked about IDEX, and he asked me, have you ever been to MOD? And I said, yes, I've been once to MOD when I was supposed to be going to jail, and that was 1998. What all we are hearing here, and if you look at the video, so in 1998, the government of India published a law, and the top of the law was written secret. So Office Memorandum of Minister of Defense talking about giving permission for digitization of maps to 9 agencies in the country, and on top it was written secret. So we published that law and that copy, and then we were charged by the MOD that we are being anti-national by circulating a regulation which the common man has to follow while digitization of the maps. So that's the kind of culture we have been, and when we talk about openly today about the policies, so you have to just imagine, it took about 25 years. 97 we started our company, and it's just 22, and we're still getting promises from General Bhatt that it will be in this month somehow, sometime, but geospatial guidelines have already come, which is last year. So that's the kind of time which any public policy, I would say it's not the same case always, but in this case it has been. And one of the panelists was talking about top-down approach, that we need to, China was top-down. I must say that it is the Prime Minister of India who has actually led this initiative of public policy reform, but for him it wouldn't have happened, and it will not happen even now. I'm sorry, I'm being very practical on those grounds. Coming back to the topic of discussions today, and the topic of the discussion is that history is only for knowing and learning, not necessarily repeating it. So we should not actually think of repeating the history at all. We should just take a learning and learn the patience and willingness to really invest our energy into building our future. And future lies in our hands. I very strongly believe that as a citizen of the country, I'm no longer no smaller than anybody else, a stakeholder of this country and an equal stakeholder of this country. And I have an obligation as well to actually contribute into building this nation. And that's been the spirit through which we have worked together always. What we heard in last 2 days of conversations here is a very positive environment. And I'm going to actually ask some put some opportunities for our panelists to say a few words. But what I heard consistently was, that we are going to look at, investing into technology. I think by and large, we have recognized, acknowledged, and accepted that we need to do more in terms of making use of geospatial knowledge and space technology for making our country more secure. Isn't it that? Is there any contradiction to this? Looks like everybody's very quiet. So quietness can also be taken as a consent. Right? But we heard about technology development and technology needs. Very carefully we listened to that. We also heard about capacity development. And I think technology development and capacity development goes hand in hand. Third thing which we kept on hearing was the partnership and collaboration. And it's so musical to hear this, all the speakers from armed forces as well as the industry talking about partnership. And a very classic example of this partnership is Geospatial World and ISpA as a partner in organizing this conference, which actually brought, I think, a little bit of value to your purpose, sir. It definitely did a lot of value to our purpose of engaging with the public policy officials as well as the space community. And so we heard about partnership and collaboration. Fourth thing which we also heard a bit about is strategic engagement. There is a private sector engagement, but there is a strategic engagement. That has been the call from many of the officers when they talk about long haul, sustainable approach. Is basically talking about, it's not a transactional approach, but a strategic approach that you have to work as partners. So that is the strategic engagement between the industry and the government has been very well defined here. So what are the way forward? I would like to hear from our panelists, that what are the way forward in view of these four, pillars which we have actually been discussing in this conference. So let me start with someone like Suyas, who is a young entrepreneur. He is the future, and a lot of work he's doing is actually going to build our capacity for tomorrow. So Suyas, what do you think about, how can we strengthen this strategic engagement, and what can you offer?
First of all, sir, thank you so much for the appreciation and believing in us, being the young entrepreneurs in space tech. I think to answer your question, these 2 days have been tremendously, a learning experience for us and me and my colleague. And probably, when I was starting up, I never knew that I there was so much of a difference between what industry is producing and what is being consumed. And I think we are at a sweet spot where everyone is coming together to do that collaboratively and moving ahead. So I mean, to me, I have seen the examples of Google and Facebooks and other civilian examples more than anything, where we have a platform where we people come together to discuss the same requirements and supply and demand things, and in a way that drives the technology development. And at the end of the day, it reaches people. For example, Uber or Ola was something that people needed and it came through. So something like that came through because some young entrepreneurs came on the road and identified a problem. So, but the good part about that is, we can understand the problem from the user very in a very straightforward way. I can document it, I can understand it, and I can generalize it. Uh, I think that is something that we need to understand here. How do we generalize the solutions to the strategic sector? So my point being here is, I'm not sure, I don't know, but I feel that this is an initiative to something that is happening in the future.
So basically, what you're saying that you got a better understanding of what the user requirement is.
I did got it, but I don't know yet how to really position myself in the services yet.
I think that's a very candid. Let's give it a applause for you that you are being candid. And this is what is the candidness. It would actually bring a bit of trust. Then we can help each other.
Sure.
Yeah. Let me go to Kishanu. That what do you think that you just set up a company? I think very recently.
Yes, 3 years back. Yes.
3 years back, he just set up a company, and he wants to, and then he got hit by the COVID immediately. So he had the real pain of an entrepreneur. So, what do you think that you can actually offer in this strategic engagement?
Okay. So I don't know if it's working.
Yeah, it is.
Working.
It is.
It's working. Okay.
Yeah, please bring it closer.
Okay. Thank you. So congratulations you first for 25 years of this journey. So it's tremendous. I was watching your video, so we must.
I was young.
And your beard was, mustache was really nice. I saw that one picture, so that's nice. So we must pause a bit and to congratulate Sanjay sir. So for sure. So yes, I guess as a company we started. When I was in Earthcast and some other engagement I was having, so we saw certain gaps that we thought we'll be able to cope up with what I think is great at that point of time. But yes, time teaches you many things. We started understanding many things that we thought will be accepted, or rather we can bring it very nicer way. It's not accepted. We had to recalibrate rather and come back and come with a nicer way. So yes, COVID was really a bad situation for I guess most of all of us, health wise, finance wise, everything in personal relations. But I guess what in last one and a half years, what is going on? Some of the examples we see through ISpA in space. That's the action is going on. I guess as a company, as an industry, we see a hope. So that's what I think is the key for me. That if I have something that I really want to bring it to say defense forces. Earlier there's an invisible wall that I used to go bang my head and come back. I think now I can see some source of light. I can go to there, can see through certain suggestions, certain guidance, and can bring it to it.
So that's a great thing that he has a hope, which is very important. That and I think it's a fact that the government has opened up. And I'll come to General Bhatt after to hear his wisdom. But before I go there, I would like to have Sriramam to say that Sriramam, you are from Geospatial Services, and rest of the stakeholders from space community. So where do you see actually that you as a geospatial company is adding value to space innovation and space, I would say policy. How is it actually helping you to build your business better?
Thank you, Sanjay. First of all, again, let me also start by congratulating you and Geospatial World in arranging this kind of seminars and bringing all the user groups together, the entire ecosystem together, so that the ideas can be exchanged and we can actually interact with each other. As a geospatial services company, which is homegrown and started about 12, 13 years back, we have seen all the tough phases of how the data was not free, or even making the data was not allowed. And we had gone through all those phases of data development. We had started as an absolute startup, just doing the data creation, because the theme at that particular time was actually creation of data, because data were not available. And every user was wanting their map data that is already existing to be converted to a digital data and to a geospatial database so that they can take decisions. Today, after a lot of water has flown in, and after 12 years, we are seeing a lot of change. In fact, I have seen a drastic change. Today, people talk about applications. We are together for the last 2 days talking about fourth industrial revolution and how it is going to change, how we are going to deploy geospatial technology. Today, the themes have changed from data to actually applications and the technology and how we deploy that for any purpose, whether it is civilian purposes or defense and intelligence purposes. So some of the things that have happened, what I would call, or in general, what we call it as a geospatial knowledge infrastructure, where you have multiple forces working together to make geospatial technology work. We all know that policy is very important component of that. The policies have changed. Thankfully, with the new government taking decisions on freeing geospatial data through the geospatial data guidelines. Then you have the drone policy which has come up. So there are many policies which are in the works, space policies in the works, so that the data can be freely circulated and people can use the data, develop applications, and technology could be deployed for the real use of people. So we are moving ahead from just the data creation to actually building applications and making geospatial deployment very useful. Today we are talking about machine learning. We are developing applications in machine learning. When I talk about how the space technology or the space data being available has made our work easier, is satellite imagery which is restricted for use. Today it is available better than, or I would say worse than 1 meter resolution data is available. You can do a lot of machine learning applications on top of that and derive information, and you can actually take decisions. We are developing tools using that. And similarly, the drone data. Today, drones can be deployed and data can be captured. We can use that using, again, machine learning tools and other tools to actually capture the required data. So the paradigm has actually changed from you go into the field and collect what is required to a paradigm where a whole lot of data is being collected using machines, whether they could be LiDAR, whether they could be drones, they are GPR, and so on and so forth. You get a whole lot of data and you are actually deriving information from that data. So here is where the power of technology comes in, and that's where we are actually working on right now. And one of the other things that we are very seriously working, especially for the defense forces, is the security of data and how we make sure that the data is secure from the time it is captured till the time it is actually deployed for critical situations. This is a blockchain technology. If blockchain is actually applied on geospatial technology, this could be a solution where the data is very secure. Nobody can actually touch the data, tamper the data with. So there are multiples of possibilities. And in fact, the kind of startups, the kind of technology companies that are there, I believe, are very few, and there is a scope for probably hundreds of companies more into this field, working in specific verticals. This is what is my view, and also I am the General Secretary of AGI, which is Association of Geospatial Industries. We work with all the startups, we work with the companies, and We are an industrial body, and we can also provide suggestions and help for all the startups and other companies. Thank you.
Thank you, Sri. General Bhatt, you have a big responsibility, and you always had a big responsibility in the past career as well. And I was very excited to see some of the conversation in this room since morning was very focused on commercialization of space and industry. So, and you are partner to several organizations. So, what's your take? How can we build this strategic engagement more faster and deeper with the armed forces? Speed and depth of relationship is very important.
Now, what happened today, and I thanks Geospatial for this, and especially you and General Chandel, that one thing which would have not happened in the open domain, the people in uniform talking to the industry in a domain called the strategic domain of satellites.
Yes.
A word which I heard, and I still hear it at times, whenever you talk to ISRO, maybe the government, maybe my colleagues, that, oh, this is a strategic domain. Well, I've done my 40 years there, and I'm aware of what the strategic domain is. Today, because of the dual use, firstly, the usage of space has been now led by the commercial sector. This has been a change, not in India, but world over.
Yes.
And maybe this will lead, and this is what is leading the defense forces also to maybe after some time chase this industry to get the products. If I would talk of 20 years back and before the Elon Musks and Virgin Galactic and the third one, Jeff Bezos came into the space domain, NASA ruled the roost. They were the ones who called the shots. But today, disruptive technology has been brought by a so-called greenhorn, who was a greenhorn 20 years back. He has brought into a technology which is difficult to even imagine, a reusable rocket. And it is, what is his intent? Commercial use. Providing broadband to the furthest corner of the world in a very short time, which is going to happen. Similarly, in India also, these young startups someday are going to lead with the technology, with the disruption, and bring solutions which I cannot even imagine. Now, Suyas and there is Navneet from Kepler, they are working in a very difficult domain. They are giving a product which even the defense forces do not understand completely. He's talking of a combination of SAR and optical, which I myself took some time to understand. It is a new thing on the table. Procurement of these will take. I won't say it will be easy and the ice will be broken. But the first start when all of them talked to me was, so let us see the face who is going to buy the product from us. What does he want? Today was a beginning. Today in public forum, many of my defense forces colleagues have tried to put down that what are their expectations. And this is the start. I think things will now improve better. And the policy, as you know, the space policy is around the corner.
Yeah.
End of this month or next month it is going to come. And that will formalize what we are already talking about. There are few satellites waiting to be launched by our private sector players. The day this policy comes, activity for that will start. I am an optimist and I'm very sure our private industry is going to provide a challenge not only to the local government space agency but to the world.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I know we are very short of time. I'll just take 5-6 minutes, but I go back to a conversation which I had with Sri Ramam about 3-4 months back. I said, the policy is a past for me because policy is, if not today, tomorrow will be there. It's just a matter of time. But I think all the nuts and bolts have been already done. But moving forward, what is the role for an organization like us to actually, take forward and help industry leverage this policy is industrial development and commercialization. that how do you help building industry, and how do you help commercialization of the space or the geospatial sector. Though geospatial is more commercial domain than space, I can very well vouch for it. Worldwide, geospatial is like 10% would be defense market, as against for space, probably defense will be 60-70% of the market. So that's the geospatial, domain. And I would like to just draw one analysis to you that in last 4 years, any country of significance in this world have actually gone ahead with policy reforms in the field of geospatial and space technology. Name any country. Even a country like America has consistently reformed their policies. In their Geospatial Data Act came in 2018. Their positioning, navigation, and satellite timing policy came in 2020, and their recent policies they have come up with, known as especially for the communication guys, like Federal Communication FCC, what they call is. Yeah, so they have come up with a policy that in all the satellite, cell phone providers have to give 3-meter vertical accuracy in their phone. So just imagine if you're talking of 3-meter vertical accuracy of this phone in the buildings, and all the buildings of America in 3 years have to be 3D modeled, mapped. Why they have to do it? Because of the public safety and the security only. The main reason is public safety and security, so that somebody calls. Today you don't call from landline. You call from cell phone. Landline has an address. Cell phone could be anywhere in the world. So you need to know where is this cell phone. So how do you actually combat that situation? Just imagine the amount of business it will open up for our industry. Geospatial industry is almost $452 billion, inclusive of Earth observation and GNSS portions as well. And it's going to be about 650 by 2025 and about 1 trillion by 2030. But what is interesting is the policy impact of the global policy impact. So whatever has been happening from 2018 till now and 2025 coming times, that will make almost $300 billion addition to this whole market by 2030. So that is the amount of impact the policies have, and we are in a very fortunate stage with the right kind of policy frameworks and the leadership around our industry. So that is the future which we are in, and I know that we are in a very fortunate age right now, but at the same time very challenging age because as we say that you cannot fight the battle of tomorrow with yesterday's tools. So we actually have to be very much engaged on the cutting edge technologies. I have a last question to General Bhatt. Actually, again, he's my friend and target both. Sir, you heard, I was really, amazed by the talk by, Kranti this morning. And he actually nailed down the issues of commercialization. He didn't talk of policy, talk of the challenges. How, as a ISpA, are you going to help us address those bigger challenges and bigger important issues to converge our thought process among the forces and the political leadership and the commercial,
Like you rightly said, Kranti summarized the anguish and the challenges of this sector.
opportunities as well.
And also what are the opportunities. And most importantly, he also gave us a landscape view of what is happening. I saw more hope in his presentation
Yes.
than the challenges. But yes, it was a excellent thing that he put these challenges to this forum. Like they were heard by the CISC and people in authority in the defense forces. Similarly, it is very important that this is advocated to InSpace, to the Department of Space, and all persons in authority. And like very important, a funds will have to be created because this sector has a very large challenge of risk, of failure. and also the return on investment takes a lot of time. Both requires strong financial support. Like in USA, it has succeeded because Elon Musk had the drive and the money.
Both.
Here, the drive is there. We have to find the money, and that is what our effort will be.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I think, Kranti, as you said, that he outlined the roadmap also. When he was talking about challenges, he was actually outlining the roadmap as well, that how can we get there and what are the topics to be actually, steered. With this, I would like to just say thank you to everyone and to our panelists. And next year, we would be meeting again, but with a bigger, I would say, banner and wider scope and more depth into our content, and the process of engagement would be much more refined. We are going to make this conference as a Indo-Pacific GeoIntelligence Forum next year. I must say this, which means that we are expanding the scope of this conference to Asia-Pacific region minus China. And that is in alignment with our government of India's strategy to build Indo-Pacific partnerships and Quad strategy and national ambition of supporting friendly countries in the field of geointelligence. And that will also be very helpful for our entrepreneurs who are building those capacities here to export our services and our influence in those markets. And so we would be hosting this Indo-Pacific, Geointelligence Forum, sometimes in much better weather than the June, because that's very, very difficult weather. But we are talking to several authorities, and we look forward to your support and participation again. We'll announce the dates very soon, and we look forward to strengthen our partners with ISpA and MOD and Military Survey and National Security Council. I've got very good positive messages from the leadership of armed forces for Indo-Pacific. I have consulted them, and we have some strategic direction going forward. Thank you very much. Have a great evening. And once again, thank you to everyone.